Welcome to our lecture of today. As you see from the title, it's a challenging title. It's Personal Promise. It has to do with myself to business performance. Myself as a leader, as an entrepreneur. Let us go. Step 0, we will talk about something which is practical. We will examine together a true case history. I only changed the names due of privacy issues, but the story is true. What's the story? Let's call it Legno Veneto. This is a Venetian industry. It has been founded in the 60s by Francesco. Francesco Ricci is the owner. He has a son. His son is named Stefano. And you see, he has about 50 employees, and he specialized in quality wood floors. Natural, built together from design to production to sales. They do everything inside the company. It's a successful company. Here, these materials are for you. You will receive them. You can read everything through. Here you have the details. What's the to-be situation, the future vision? You see, we have Stefano, 31 years old, the only son of Francesco. All the hopes of Francesco are on this son. Will he be able to become an entrepreneur? Is he the right person? He doesn't have a second son, and so he's the great bet. You see that Stefano has been working in his father's company in the past 10 years. He started in production, and then he became a very, very good and brilliant sales manager. His father told him, Stefano, in 3 years' time, I want to retire. I'm tired. I feel old. But I want to make sure that this company can keep growing and growing. And so Stefano has a big responsibility. What did Francesco do? How did he manage his people? It was the typical command and control style. People love him. His employees love him. He's very strict, he's stern, but he's a sort of father. Results, business results are good, and so it works. So far it has been working. Stefano wants to change something. He has attended several courses at QUOA Business School, and he has learned a lot of things, and he wants to apply them. But he doesn't want to make mistakes, and he doesn't know where to start from. And so, what comes next? We met about 1 year ago, and here let's talk about the specific challenge. The challenge was, Daniela, I have a dream. I know that you have already heard something like this. And I asked, what's your dream? Tell me. Give me the highlights. The dream, I want to take over my father's business. Okay, I've understood this. I know I would like to learn how to manage this business, to make it grow. Okay, I want to learn how to manage people. Difficult, because people are used to a different style, but you want to introduce new management styles. I want to deliver brilliant results in a 12 months' time, okay? And I want to make my father proud of me. Very, very challenging. Okay, rule number 1. Where should I start from? From the beginning? No, from the end. And so I said, Stefano, come here. Let's put some concrete, practical, measurable data. What do you really want? Okay. Start from the end model. Strategic tool number 1. Key question, which are your long-term targets? And I made these questions to Stefano, and he took some time to answer to these questions. What do you really want to achieve? What's the priority? You cannot have 27 targets. What's the first, the most important one? The one that can change, that can start a new change. which are your 5 goals. Let's sum up your challenge to 5 goals. And how can you measure them? And this is the result. I want to increase the business in Italy by 40% in the next 2 years. Consider that it's an Italian business having Italian customers. They sell to architects, to designers, they work in the construction industry, and they also sell to private owners. Then I want to create a management team. The past situation was the owner and the rest of the people. And so one boss took and made every single decision. Stefano said, I cannot do this by myself. I need to create a management team, some key people taking over some responsibilities. The third, we need to have an organization chart. We don't know who is in charge for what, who is responsible for what. Every issue, every problem, they knock the door of Francesco, of the father. And this was an important target. Stefano told me, I'm working 12 hours a day, as my father did. I'm working on Saturdays and on Sundays. I must stop this because I have a family, and they are not glad with my timetable. And I need to have a business plan, a solid business plan, within the next 12 months. Okay, this is the challenge. Step 2, you need to build your team. Okay, key question, where should I start to build my company? You have 2 options, start from the business or start from people. Considering that the business is going, performances are okay. Consider that customers know you. Customers are looking for you. You don't need to develop a new business. Keep things going and focus on people. Because people, and here you have a rule, are the first asset in any company. People by which we mean not only my team, but the individuals. Each person can deliver something special. A good manager is able to understand what's the best that each individual can deliver for the company, and thereafter create the teams. And thereafter make them responsible, accountable, autonomous, which means delegate. Let's start with the people. Involve your team in the bigger picture and start selecting your champions. This is the answer. Where should I start from? Start from people. There are 50 people working with you, which are the ones you can make a big bet. Which are the talents? Which are the potentials? Which are the experts? Where lies the know-how? And here we had an issue. The know-how was a treasure that the oldest ones had, only the oldest ones, those who were going to retire. You cannot have a management team of people that will retire in 2-3 years' time. You need to make a mix of those who are and of those who will be the talents able to manage a part of the company supporting you. And this strategic tool number 2, how Stefano was able to build a management team. You can see the passages, the steps, and we will follow them through, because this is very important. This is practical life. And here you have also a sort of timetable. The timetable depends on the business, on the company, and so this is what was planned. It took a little bit longer. But look which the steps are. The first step was, you can read it here, make a list of your key people. Those who share values with you, those who are ambitious, those who have specific skills. Make a list of those you would like to involve. Those who can be important to develop your new company. Don't start only from I like them, but start from those who have delivered results and who can deliver results. Who did this? Stefano. You see this plan, it's easy. Here you have the what, the action, the who is involved, the start and the end. It's an easy model to make a good action plan. Second step. Stefano had to check if the selected people were really the right ones. Not only those who could develop some management capability, but also those who really were motivated to do this. His list included about 20 people. Stefano is an optimist. He likes people. It's difficult for you to have him criticizing somebody. He uses to say, yes, I know it's a little bit a complex person, but he has some qualities. And so started with a list of 20 people. And what happened then? 20 people. Some were eager to start their growth. Others said, no, I feel fine working like I do, leaving the company at 5 p.m., maybe 5:30. I'm too old. No, I'm afraid of taking over responsibilities. And so from 20, the number was a little bit reduced. But it doesn't matter. This was a part of the game. And so what did Stefano do? Speak to each selected person and in a sort of job interview, understand the potentials, the motivation, what they were ready to do for the company. This took more than 2 weeks, a little bit more, because it wasn't easy to create the right environment to have this kind of speeches. You cannot simply say, come here, tell me what your objectives are. No, you have to create a right climate, the trust. You have to start making some question, not too direct. And so it took time. But at the end, he was able to select a group of people who were ready and who were looking forward to creating something new. What was the next step? Next step was make a meeting with this newborn team and involve them in the big project. Explain what your ideas are, what the vision could be, and start making questions. I was attending these meetings, and so I can tell you because I was there. He didn't say, these are my 5 business targets, and you are part of this project. No, he said, I think that we could grow in our business. In your opinion, what could we do that we haven't been doing so far? What are we missing? Are there some competencies that we should acquire? And so he started a sort of brainstorming where everybody felt being an important part of the game. And this was a long meeting because it wasn't simply one meeting, it was more meetings. Plenty of ideas, fantastic ideas, we had to put them down. And what was very interesting was that the team decided that the main waste that was being not corrected, not amended in the company was our processes are too complex. We don't know who does what and when and why. There's no control at all. We don't have any idea how the company is working. We know that products are being produced. We know that salespeople are selling, but which are the processes? And so, point 4. The task was, let's try to design the current processes, if there are any. And so you saw these team members or would-be managers walking around the company and asking each person, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Why are you doing this? To whom are you responding? And so they discovered lots of things. And they started, it was their decision. I will do this check in the production area. I will do this check with my suppliers. And so in some way, they started being more conscious and aware that the company was divided in departments. And each of them took in some way charge for the department. Consider that those who were selected already had an informal leading position. They already had the trust of the other employees, but it was not official. This meant that if some of these team members wanted to make a decision, his colleagues would say, "You're not my boss, therefore, why are you telling me what to do?" And so they started mapping what was happening. And this took some time. After having designed the main current processes, some ideas came out, some improvements came out, and in following a sort of agile philosophy, targets, short-term targets, small improvements, they started seeing this is wrong. How could we improve it? And they started making small improvements. What came next? To be, let us put on paper, the organization chart. The first step was, who is responsible for what? They did it together as a team. And they discovered that a logistic manager following a more complex process was necessary. Because production, supply chain, shipment, they were separate departments. Somebody who took control of all the departments could help. And so they designed the general organization chart, and they did it together. What was interesting was the next step. Each team member went to the employees after the first information given by Francesco, so you remember the owner, to the whole staff. He informed everybody, guys, as I want to retire, and my son will take over the business, as you have seen, we won't start to put things in order. It's not the final design of the situation, but we want to start to understand how we could move better. Therefore, some of you have been proposed, selected, and they will be the ones who are going to take over more responsibility in each department. They will come to you, to each of you, to ask you how we can design this organization so that each of you has a clear position and clear responsibilities in the company, because all of you are important. And this was welcomed because what I heard was, oh, it's the first time that our voice can be listened to, that somebody asks our opinion. Because so far, it was the big boss telling us what to do, how to do it. Our ideas were not asked for. And so there was a sort of enthusiasm, of growing enthusiasm in the company. Next step, specific meetings. Each team member, let's say, would be manager talking to his people. trying to see what could be improved, supporting the people when giving new ideas and when making proposals for improvement. And then official presentation of the organization chart, which was a success. Why? Because they had built the organization chart. It wasn't, as it happens in most companies, organization chart comes from the paradise and is put down. No, it came from the bottom. And so when the organization chart was officially presented, all of them were happy. Oh, it's me, I'm there. You see, I have contributed to this. And this was really, it was really interesting and nice. After the official presentation, action. Because now that we have put in order our house, we need to start thinking about the business. But we must have a good way in place to keep communication going. Communication top-down, bottom-up, and cross-communication. Stefano agreed on a calendar, a strategic meeting calendar, that he started to regularly have with the team members, both all together and both one-to-one meeting. And this process has been completed and is still ongoing. And so, starting to create a management team didn't mean for him that this is the final organization of the company. I expect big changes. Because when you accelerate changes, you discover that talents grow faster. But you discover that those who are not on board quit faster. And so I think we will have surprises as regards all this challenge. What comes next? Okay, now you can start approaching the business part, which is the second part. The part which is most important for the owner. Keep the business going and make it grow. To be true, Francesco wasn't that enthusiastic. He said, instead of working, they are always in a meeting. But strategy means think before doing and think about a long-term future. This is a strategy. They were used to do more. Next step, business development. Consider, and so having completed the first draft of organization, having a management team in place, a sort of would-be management team, they have to start working together, and an organization chart, everybody knew what you had to do. Now they were ready to develop the business part. How can I develop a solid fiscal year business strategy? This is Stefano. And he made the question, I know who the customers are, I know who our suppliers are, but a strategy? I don't have all the information. Answer. Let's start from the most difficult part of any project, of any strategy. We are used to, what can I do now? I have a problem. Go and solve the problem. I want to develop a plan. Okay, let's make an action plan. No. The first step is always a good, solid, structured analysis. We are missing this because we don't have time. There is too much pressure. We don't have time to make a really solid analysis. And so, first point, let's start making analysis. Who is making the analysis? Stefano, wait a moment. Wait a moment. Because what can you do? It's not you who are supposed to do the analysis. You have a specific skill, which is you know the market, but now you have a management team. a young management team. Each of them has lots of information, lots of experience, day-by-day experience, and they are looking forward to share this with you. It's not you who are supposed to develop this business plan. And so, use a simple, effective tool. When Stefano asked me, can you show me a business plan? Yes, it's a little bit complicated. The first time that you see a business plan, even if it's a lean business plan, it seems to be terrible, especially the analysis part. And so we used a tool. They used a tool. I think that all of you have heard about the SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Okay, reverse it. SWOT analysis should be used in a different way. Now I show you. Here you have strategic tool number 3. You see that SWOT means, let's start with the strengths of the company. No. Strengths and weaknesses are something that depend on you. The company can change. If the company has a weakness, we want to enter the French market, but we don't have enough people speaking French. Okay, hire some people. No, we must start from what we cannot modify, we cannot change, which is opportunities and threats. And so the SWOT analysis becomes a TAUS analysis. And it works like this. Let's start from external, what is outside the marketplace. We cannot change it. Which are the opportunities? What is going to happen? We have some weak signals that this could happen, and we could avail ourselves of this opportunity. If Stefano did this by himself, maybe he would have found some opportunity. Start involving quality, supply chain manager, production, research and development. Can you imagine how many opportunities they were able to write here? Concrete opportunities, not simply our competitors are becoming weaker. No, we need data and figures. They were not able to complete this in one meeting because they had to look for data. Stefano asked, what's the percentage? What's the exact rate? Give me some figures. And his managers didn't know. I have to get some information. Okay, let's meet in a couple of days. And what did they do? They started from opportunities. If we catch them, we can grow. Second point, you see, 1, 2, threats. What could happen that could create some problems for us? And we cannot modify it. We can only be ready to manage the threats. And, follow me, for each opportunity, which strengths do we have or do we need to catch the opportunity? For each threat, which strengths do we have or do we need to prevent the threat to become a problem? And the same as regards threats. Strengths that we can use, weaknesses, we must work. Because if we are weak, we cannot catch the opportunity and we cannot avoid a threat. To be honest, it took 4 weeks to do this. It was the first time that these people confronted with each other on hard figures. And they started having an eagle's view on business. They didn't have. Imagine when you work every day looking here, it's a surprise thinking that you should do this and look around. They learned, these young managers, to ask their employees who had information, who often had more information that they managers had. And at the end, they were able to summarize everything into one single slide. And here, they had the basis for the business plan, because then it was easy to fix the targets. They come out from here. Oh, simplifying, it's not that easy, but it's structured, it has a logic. Step 4. Step 4, how can I make sure that all the people work for a common goal? Make sure that every person in the company exactly knows the long and medium targets of the company. Long term, medium term. This means agree on these 5 targets, start from the end. When you have understood that these targets can change your future, can improve your future, then make sure that everybody knows them, because the whole company needs to go in the same direction. And here you have another tool, reverse pyramid, for internal consistency. Company targets. From these company targets, department targets can be derived, team targets, individual targets. And from individuals, you have ideas for innovation, you have ideas for new projects, and this is a perfect system. Start from the end, goal setting process. This is useful independently from the fact that you are the general manager, the CEO, or have been hired in a company in the past 2 days. Fix your 5 fiscal year targets. First step, make them measurable. Make them smarter, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic. Share them with your team leaders to ensure consistency, to be sure that you are going in the right direction. If you are a manager, share them with your team members and get feedback. Do they agree on these targets? Do they think that we can reach them? Which ideas do they have? And involve each member of your team and make sure that each member of your team has his targets contributing to your targets, contributing to the business targets. And so you have a complete system that should work perfectly. Step 5. Now you can step back. What does this mean? It's not you as a leader who has to make decisions, give answers, solve problems. No. If you have done a good job, and Stefano is doing a good job, you can be a servant leader, which means you can read it here. What does it mean? Your main task is to help people grow, to help people have new ideas, manage their ideas, take the responsibility for projects, work together. You simply make it easier for them. You enable them. You give information. You give tools. You help if they have some trouble. And so you put the needs of your team first. If your people are personally and professionally satisfied, they will give back much more than they gave in the past, because it will be their business, not the business of somebody else. And you know that I could summarize it in a rule. A happy company generates happy profits. Servant leadership means everything starts from the value stream, what is really important for customers. A company succeeds if the customers are happy. And so the customers that you select dictate the rules. Employees try to serve customers at their best, understanding what customers are ready to pay for. Therefore, management supports employees in day-by-day activities, and the leader stands behind and facilitates the whole process. It's the opposite of the command and control style, which is old. What did Stefano do? Lead by example. And he was the first who started listening. He isn't that good at listening. He was the one who made the question and then gave the answer. Now he's biting his tongue and he listens to people. And he's ready to change his mind. He has learned to use hard figures because hard data are facts. Impressions are not facts. Show people why the job is important. Each single member of your team has a role and is important for the company. Show them how. Explain not only the what, but also the why. Encourage collaboration, which means if you have a problem, ask them. Ask for their advice. They will be happy to give you advices. Maybe not every advice is so good or so brilliant, but you keep them involved. 4, care for your team members personally. Try to create a personal relationship. Be interested in their lives, in their happiness, because they will give back. Ask for feedback and be ready to change your mind. So difficult. Step 6, action. This was the past. Assess, which means make an analysis, decide what to do, 30%, execute 20%. And so the whole process, the biggest part was here. Assess and decide what to do. Today, assess 20%. You don't have so much time. Decisions, quick decisions, agile decisions that you can change. Execute. When you have a plan, when you want to deliver something, when you have agreed with your team to do something, you must do it. You must keep your promise and adjust on the way. And you can do this only when you have a clear vision. Vision is the long term. Execute is in the short term, in the day-by-day activity. So keep the vision in mind and be ready to change with your team in order to get where you all together want to get. I started a calendar of meetings, Stefano. He is having one-to-one meetings. He never misses a meeting. He wasn't used to do that. And this is the first result. He has restarted, leaving the office at a certain time and going and having his bicycle and running up and down the hills. He doesn't work on Saturday and Sunday anymore. Business results, I will not read them through because I know that you are capable to read. But they have a new sales strategy and have decided to abandon small private customers. Too much work and small results. They hired 12 new employees. 12 plus 50. It's a good investment. They have the organization chart. They are working on the business plan. They are changing it because it's an experiment. They are testing it, trial and error. Turnover in the last 12 months, an increase of 25%. And we are in pandemic times. And absenteeism rate, which was very high in production, has dropped by 50%. And these are hard figures. And now, 1 year has passed. They have another year to reach the brilliant targets, but they are on the right way. And so, things do not happen. Things are made to happen. JFK. And have good luck.